Hello everyone, this is Tanya here from EDU TV. I welcome you all to our International Internet Day celebration. We have the privilege of hosting a distinguished speaker with us today, a true luminary in the world of technology and education, Professor M.M. Pant. We're truly fortunate to have him here with us today to share his expertise. We're also honored to welcome Dr. Dilip from Jagran Lakecity University and the students from prestigious schools who have joined us to share their perspectives and profound impact of the internet in our lives. We all know that the internet has transformed the way we learn and live today. So, on this International Internet Day, let us take a moment and appreciate its incredible influence and ponder the possibility it holds for our future. Without any further delay, I would request Zayed from Delhi Public School Bangalore South to please proceed further. Zayed, all yours.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. My name is Zaid. I'm the president of IT Council at Delhi Public School Bangalore South. It is an immense honor to be here today, celebrating the historic date of October 29th, 1969, when the first internet message was sent and received. As we gather to commemorate this pivotal event in the history of technology, I'm delighted to introduce to you our esteemed guest, Professor M.M. Pant. Good morning, Professor Pant.
Good morning, Zaid.
Professor Pant is a distinguished authority in the fields of artificial intelligence and the internet. His profound insights and contributions to these domains have not only shaped the landscape of technology, but have also inspired countless individuals, particularly those aspiring to explore the endless possibilities of the digital world. Today, we have the unique opportunity to engage in a conversation with Professor Pant, delving into various facets of AI and the internet. We will also explore how these innovations have transformed our lives, the inception of the internet in India, and his predictions for the next 5 to 10 years. Furthermore, this interview is not only a platform to gain insights, but also a testament to the power of knowledge sharing. Our world is undoubtedly shaped by technology, and understanding both its positive impact and challenges is essential. Professor Pant, we extend our warmest welcome and gratitude for joining us today. Your wealth of knowledge and expertise in this field make this interview a significant occasion, and we are eager to engage in a meaningful conversation that will not only enrich our understanding, but also inspire our aspirations for the future of AI and internet. As kids, we've prepared a few questions that we'd like to ask you.
You want to begin with questions, or you want me to say a few introductory comments?
Okay. Yes, sir.
So I just want you to reflect on this. See, you are a very lucky generation. You are getting to use the internet very early in life. For most of us, we saw internet much later in life. I just want you to think of two things. If the internet had been earlier, how would the things have been different? And I just want you to speculate on, you've all heard of Ramanujan? Ramanujan is the brilliant mathematician of India who at that time was able to communicate to Hardy, the great mathematician, who encouraged him and gave him the opportunity to come there and etc. So he had to travel by ship for so many days and so on. You imagine if the internet was available to Ramanujan, today he would be not contacting one Hardy, all the brilliant mathematicians of the world. And his work would be seen not only by Hardy, but all the mathematicians of the world. And not only that, he would be able to be in touch with fellow mathematicians, making more than whatever he did. Everybody talks of him in superlative terms, but just imagine how much more it would have been. Or come more nearer, Satyendranath Bose. Now, again, his name you don't hear too much, although those of you who studied or are studying physics know that bosons is half the particles of the world are called bosons. The other half are called fermions. And Satyen Bose was recognized by whom? By Einstein. And that's why it is called Bose-Einstein equation, Bose-Einstein condensation, and so on. Now, suppose Bose was be able to touch with all the other Nobel laureates, the ones that we talk about, Dirac, Schrodinger, Max Born, Max Planck, etc., how much more would he have been able to achieve? That, to me, is the power of the internet. That, to me, says that even in a remote village in India, a person who can cope with these things and has brilliant ideas will be able to connect the minds to this. So although for commercial people, internet is about advertising and how much money you make and how much influence you have and social media and YouTube and TikTok, but it is actually a method of connecting minds together, enlarging the scope of our vision, interest, and exposure. And more so, what you will see in the future will be a interaction between people of different fields. Today we see science separate, technology separate. Doctors know nothing about quantum mechanics. These things. And now what you will see is that all kinds of people will be able to share all kinds of knowledge. To me, that is the big part of the internet. And of course, we'll get more into it as we come along. But I just wanted to stimulate you with this idea that here you have something which is actually enhancing your mind and connecting you to the entire world. You are no longer limited. And as they say, geography is history. Okay, so now you continue and we can respond to questions.
So one of my main questions, it really troubles me that with the advancement of technology like this, especially with AI coming in, there was a commercial recently, warning of sorts where, people use deep fake technology to fake people talking, or even it came to a point where children, they tried to show that their children were kidnapped, tried to deep fake it, and then also try to contact parents to see if they would fall for it. So what would you say, are the implications of all of this?
Yeah, so there is a very interesting thing. I'm forgetting where it was written. It is especially in the US. Is a trust but verify. So whenever you get any message from any source,
Definitely,
don't blindly trust it. Don't blindly take it. As a child, you must have seen so many optical illusions. You play so many games, it looks like this, but it is not that. You simply wear a colored glass. That grass which is dry will look green to you. So we all know that what we are hearing, seeing, etc., is the brain interpreting certain things. And simplest experiment that I tell people is put one of your hands in cold water, ice cold water, for say 30-40 seconds. Put your other hand in boiling water or as hot water as you can bear for another minute or so. Then put both your hands in a bucket with ordinary room temperature water. You will see one hand will feel it is cold, other hand will feel it is warm.
Right.
So this is something we need to understand, that seeing is not believing. Hearing is not believing. Believing is applying your mind to see whether it is likely to be true. And very often, I like to call this phrase, if it is too good to be true, it is not true.
Right.
And if it is too improbable to be false, then it is false probably. So don't suspend your critical faculties. You have to be continuously aware of your critical faculty and validate, verify, whatever. And one of the simplest ways of validation is find another source which gives you the same information. Find something else. First you say, does it seem sensible? Does it seem logical? And so on and so forth. But yes, there will always be, like we play game of cops and robbers, there will always be people who are out to deceive you. And you always have to, and forget this human world, your world of biology. We saw this 3 years ago. That virus was always going around trying to catch you. And what did we learn? Protect yourself against the virus. Wear a mask, wash your hands, etc. Then get vaccinated when you can. Vaccination for this is a good education. If your education teaches you how to think, how to do critical, how to see whether it is likely to be true or not, that is vaccination against getting caught. And then protection. Don't read all kinds of things. Read only things from trustable sources, from this thing, etc., and so on. Yeah.
A very good point. Yes.
So,
thank you.
So for you, I would say you have to learn to distinguish between science fiction and science.
That's nice. So one other thing that I wanted to ask you is, your insights on today's significance. The first internet message was sent today and received. So what do you think about it all?
Yeah, so I come from a background of science. I've been basically a physicist. I can immediately think of two other things. You remember the Wright brothers? When the Wright brothers flew the aeroplane, it was a few feet for a few seconds. Today, we have long flights going from London to Singapore, this, that, and we are in that comfort of that flight. There is nothing, and so on and so forth. So the whole story of aviation from Wright brothers, after Wright brothers did this, Boeing went to him. And this Boeing person used to make boats. And he thought of I'll make ships out of those wooden things. So Boeing talked to the Wright brothers and said, I want to see your plane and go in that plane. So Wright brothers told them, you want to come and sit on a plane, you have to bring one more person because you have to balance it. So we'll put you on one side of the wing, we'll put you another person on the other side of the wing, then only you can come. So he took something, and then you had the Boeing company, etc., etc.
Wow.
So what I'm saying is, any of these new breakthroughs give rise to a whole new thing which we can't imagine. The other one,
butterfly effect.
The other one, and you must have heard, did you hear of Faraday's experiment or Faraday's laws in physics in class 8 or so?
Yep.
When Faraday did this, what did he do? His main experiment was he had a wire tied to a galvanometer, he put a magnet near it, and there was current in the wire.
Mm-hmm.
That is how it all started. And at that time, 1850 or so, the Chancellor of the Exchequer of UK, William Gladstone, and the Chancellor of the Exchequer means like Finance Minister or what Rishi Sunak was till yesterday before becoming Prime Minister. He asked him, so what is the use of this? And Faraday told him, one day you will be able to put a tax on it, because finance was the only one to put a tax. And he couldn't see it far enough. If he could have seen it far enough to Arvind Kejriwal, he would have said, one day you will win an election on this by giving electricity free for a certain amount and so on and so forth. And then, of course, we had Tesla and Edison and all these, and the General Electric Company. And now even if electricity goes for a minute, you panic.
Yeah.
And this is what it started with. So the first internet thing that happened on 2969 is of the same significance. I can go on with many more things, the first Sputnik which was launched and so on, but these are two very important examples, how you just did something which looked like fun and you came up with the whole industry, electricity, and everything is driven by electricity and so on. Yeah.
That's right. So, from back then where the first message was received and transmitted to where we've come now, it's such a long way.
Yeah.
That it should have obviously presented its own challenges. What do you think about that?
Throughout the time. No, this is throughout. That is what happens. So, as you know, the first story was they could not even put that word login through.
Mm-hmm.
Today on the internet, we are speaking like this. So tomorrow, and you guys can imagine, tomorrow we will be in virtual reality, augmented reality, metaverse. We will not even
it's already
like
started now. Did you see the new Meta Quest 3?
Yeah, right.
It's full. You can see monitors around
right,
you.
So that's what I'm saying. So Oculus became with one of the first area. So this is what is going to happen. And you know that, remember first the bandwidth was 33.6 kbps, then 2G. Then when 3G was coming, we were very excited. 3G, now 4G, 5G, and so on and so forth. And there was a time when everybody prided that they had access to internet. It was through a cable. If you went to a good hotel, they would give you a cable for this. A good campus said we are a very wired campus. Now we all want to be wireless. In fact, when a guest comes into your house, first thing you ask, what is the password of the Wi-Fi? Yeah, so this is what it is. And I am not going to go into detail, but you can imagine, because you guys look bright and you're from Bangalore, the thing on the horizon is what is being called quantum internet.
Okay.
So you will throw quantum data, quantum information through the internet. So that is what is going to happen next.
Wow.
10, 15 years. 10, 15 years, but that
definitely
you'll be a young adult at that time.
India is evolving so much, right? It's evolving at a pace that's never been seen before. So how do people, catch up with it? We have auto drivers or bus drivers. So eventually they'll be displaced out of their own jobs.
Yeah,
so how
absolutely.
do they catch up with the trend and
but,
try to do something there?
Okay, now let me tell you something. Can you believe that humble alarm clock created unemployment among many people whose job was to wake up people early in the morning? And they were called, you can Google for it, they were called upper knockers. So knocker as K-N-O-C-K-E-R. So typically in England, and where the first industrial revolution first happened, people would sleep on the first floor. The ground floor was the living room and kitchen and so on and so forth. And therefore, there was a job of a few people in the morning to go and knock the windows of your upper room to say, get up, it's time to go.
Wow.
And you imagine that they had to do this at a level that they don't wake up the neighbors who have not paid for the service. You only want to wake up people who have paid for the service. You don't want to talk so loudly that your neighbor who didn't pay for it is also getting the service. And when the alarm clock came, purely mechanical alarm clock, it displaced people out of the job. So the world is changing. In fact, I don't know how much poetry you are exposed to nowadays, but there's a very famous poem by Lord Tennyson, Morte the Arthur, where he talks about the death of Arthur. And he says, the old order changeth, yielding place to new, and God fulfills himself in many ways, lest one good custom should corrupt the world. So we've always been changing throughout. And I don't know whether you remember using fountain pen with liquid ink and so on and so forth. There was a time when people... and
My parents still tell me about that, how they only used to spray it all over.
And in government offices, there were people who were employed whose job was to fill those ink bottles with liquid ink in the morning before the office starts. So things change. It's just that we are used to a certain thing, and when that changes, we feel very upset. And the only thing is that you learn to do the new things from the old. Now, you imagine for a long, millions of years, thousands of years, people must have thought you cannot cook without fire. And now you have microwave oven, you have induction cooker. When induction was taught only to people in physics, where electromagnetic field changes induce current flows into that thing, eddy currents and so on. That is part in which every dhaba wala is making his tea. So every dhaba wala is going to lose lasers and so on, and he's using microwave oven, etc. So on. When I was in university, only people doing MSc physics knew what a laser is, what a microwave is, and so on and so forth. So this will happen, it will change. It will affect a lot of people. And especially when large number of people are involved in a low-level occupation, it will happen. And there will be a set of people who will be left out. And the only answer is, everybody has to decide that they have to be continuously learning, continuously changing. So that's the way.
So
but it's always for the better. But it's always for the better. All the jobs...
Definitely, we are evolving as a human race.
I will share with you a real story. So when computers were first coming to India, in Calcutta, where the unions were very strong, they opposed it. They would not even allow it to be taken off the ship and the docks.
Wow.
And as you know, Bengali say, chalbena, would not allow it to move at all, and so on and so forth. But you know what happened? After the computers came, and these very people who were opposing realized that their children are getting great jobs in the computer field. They're going... I have a person personally known to me long years ago when he was a clerk in a bank. But because he was interested in future things, he came to me. I had no authority or any such thing, but he learned computing informally with whatever I had. In due course, he got a job when computers came to State Bank of India. Then he got better jobs abroad. He went to Seattle. He worked for Polaris, which is a big company. And he retired as head of banking solutions of Hewlett Packard. So you see, so this is where people realize that if they embrace the new technologies, they learn about it, there are such rewards. All these people who were in Google and Microsoft and so on and so forth are because they studied the right thing at the right time. See, Sundar Pichai, Arvind Krishna, all these people are great. Had they studied the same classical politics and etc. by whatever theory was there and so on and so forth, and they can re-quote Shakespeare in many ways, or the history, or Harold Lasky, the politician, that would not have given them opportunity. So this is the exact message. Anticipate what the future... See, you must be having sports in your school. When you play sports, what do? You anticipate where the ball is going. Position yourself to do whatever you want to with the ball. You may want to kick it, you may want to stop it, you may want to make it, whatever. That is what you have to do with the emerging technologies. What are they? Where are they going? What are the opportunities? And where can I have an opportunity? So some people don't care about the technical part. They're only just the marketing and sales. So whether it is a computer or a microwave oven or this thing, they can sell it. So they,
People are usually scared, of the potential
Yeah,
of this.
no,
So
that
how
is-
would they overcome that?
no, just by seeing the positive sides.
Okay.
See, you're scared because you've seen the negative side. It is taking away my job, but it is giving me a 10x better job. So it's a question of how you look at it.
Correct.